Well, good morning and welcome to Modern Perfect Strangers with me, Brooke Silva, and where are you?
Me, me, Matt Howard.
Good morning. Um, how's your week?
Good, good.
Good.
Um, no complaints. Yeah, I had a closing last week. A good friend of mine was in town from Florida, um, getting some stuff because he's actually coming on the trip that we're going on next week. So he
That's
had to
right.
like get his his um his mom lives here in Massachusetts and he lives down in Florida now, but most of his snowboard gear is here because he doesn't need it in Florida.
I would hope not.
So he came up to get some things together, um, to get ready. He's like, I have to come up, fly up to just to fly back down to now fly next week. So,
That
um,
sucks.
yeah, spent some time with him. Went to a Railers game, Worcester Railers, which is always just a fun time.
Yep.
I'm a big hockey guy, so anytime I can watch any team play hockey on any level, it's a great time. So Railers are a fun, cheap experience to go out to. I recommend people go if they're into just being out in
That's fun.
stadiums.
Is it AAA?
Yeah, so they're in a league called the ECHL, which is like a couple steps below called the Providence Bruins level. So they're probably a step or two below them. And maybe they might be the step right below them.
It's fun. No, where I grew up in Manchester, we had the Monarchs, so we always watched the Monarchs. So cool. Um, let's get our question.
Yeah. So today's question is, what's your weekday morning ritual?
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great question.
That is because I bet you ours are very different, considering we have very different lives.
Yeah. You
I
want to
am an,
start? You want me to
yeah,
start?
no, I'll start. I'm a super early riser. Like from growing up the way I did, my eyes open at 4 a.m. whether I want to be up at 4 a.m. or not. And whether I stay in bed or I get up is dependent on how the night went with the kids. But most days I get up, I either work out or I enjoy silence because silence doesn't happen in my world. So I'll grab coffee, I'll write a little bit. I try to follow the morning mindset rituals. Doesn't always happen. I try to write for 15, I try to exercise. But mostly I just sit on the couch and just stare at nothing and drink my coffee some days because I don't get quiet ever. There's no quiet in my world. And then um, the 17-year-old's on autopilot. He gets up most days on his own, is out the door. My husband's either coming home from an overnight shift or getting ready to go to school. Get the little one off on the bus, and then my day, I sit down and my day starts here. It's
Yeah.
hectic in the morning, though. I gotta tell you, it's hectic. It's crazy once the kids wake up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hope is a tornado. She is a hurricane. We have checklists because with little pictures for her to do on a big dry erase board because she just wants to do everything and she's so helpful that I'm like, but did anybody see her brush her teeth or did she just want to check the box? Do we know? So it gets crazy. What do you do in the morning?
Yeah, my weekday morning ritual isn't anything to like write home about. No one's gonna write a book on like how successful I became based on my weekday ritual, at least my current weekday ritual. And they say, like obviously the most successful people in the world have rituals, right? Like they do the same things every morning at the same time and time block their schedules to do all these things. And
Yep.
that's how they become successful, right? Because you're not going to be someone who becomes that successful by just winging it all the time. And I'm not there yet. My weekday rituals pretty kind of fluctuates. I'll generally get up somewhere between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour. Um,
That's
yeah,
sleeping in for me.
yeah, I used to wake up like a few years ago. I would be up by 7 at the latest. Like my body was like, "Yep, 7 a.m. That's the latest you get to be." Okay, so a lot of times it'd be 6:37, and I wish I was still that way because now it's like 7:30, 8. Like, oh, okay, it's like almost 8. You should probably make a good decision and get out of bed. Um, so do that, take the dog out. And then I usually get right to emails and stuff like that I've seen come in the overnight, just because like the horror of having a phone nowadays is like you wake up and see like you have like 7-10 emails that just came in overnight or from whenever you stopped working last night, and it's like, okay, I guess I should get to those. And I do a really bad job at like time blocking some time for me in the morning before I get involved in doing work related things, right? So I just get like right to it.
Which is funny too, because it's, like if it's 8 o'clock and you're starting that, your client's probably not ready for you at 8 o'clock.
Right.
But you and I are grinders. I feel like we're workers. We just get up and we do. Have you read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod?
No.
It's a good one. I'll drop it off the next time we're there, or take it off at Cav Shelf. But basically you do these things every day called savers, which is silence, affirmations, visualization, scribe, reading. I got those. No, exercise, reading, scribing. I said that in the right order, right? Yeah, savers. And it's not a lot of time for each one, but man, when you get into the habit of doing it, and I did it for a long, long time. That 1 hour to yourself is gold. It's absolute gold. And then I feel ready to take on the day.
Yeah. And I agree, right? Like there was a point in time before I got busier in real estate, when I was like transitioning jobs, I'd be up in the morning and get my workout in before I started my day, which I do enjoy. I try and work out every day regardless. A lot of times now it's later in the afternoon.
Same evening for me.
It's either later in the afternoon or early evening or something like that. Just like, because again, it like I don't mind it though, because it helps me decompress from my day. So like you got to take it, either way. If you've had a long stressful day, like, and then I go and like slam some weights around for an hour, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, like feel better, but it's okay. I can like communicate with other people now because I've gotten rid of the stress of the day. But yeah, that's something that I used to do, and I'd like to get back in the habit of doing. Is just like getting that mental focus, right? You get up, you work out, you kind of take that time to work on your physical and mental strength, and then all of a sudden you start the day with a clear slate. And it's something I need to get back in the habit of doing, and I haven't done as well. And I think it was something you and I talked about on one of our other calls, not for this podcast, on one of our growth calls, I think, where people get comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. You get to a point, in your health and fitness journeys and your work journeys where you're in a spot where you're comfortable. And when we talked about it on our call, I thought about it as like a boxer or fighter. Right. That's the analogy that came to mind for me, is someone like that, where, a boxer who's a champion isn't going to train as hard as the guy who's fighting to get to the top.
Right.
Right. They're gonna sleep in. They're training in their cushy gyms. Like it's every Rocky movie.
Photo shoots.
Exactly. Every Rocky movie you've ever seen in your entire life. Right. Rocky always loses when he's the champion the first time around, and then he has to go back to his roots and train in a dirty, dungy gym. And then all of a sudden he's like.
And it's so funny because we talk about it often, like, right, realtors' careers are like, because, you make all this money and then you get comfortable and then, oh my God, no, I have no leads. I have nothing in my pipeline. If we just got up and did the same thing every single day, you'd never have to worry about that. Yeah. And it's true, whether you're an athlete, whether you're in sales, it's amazing how time blocking and taking the time for yourself in the morning and routine helps everyone. So now my middle child has ADHD like I do. Routines became the foundation of his world. So when he was younger and felt out of control, we could always lean back on checklists, on routines. And I knew in the morning when he was out of control, when he didn't do his checklists. right? When he wasn't doing things in a certain order, and we never wanted his world to be black and white. So it was okay to have days where you didn't do things in order, or we had to change things. But those routines are what shaped him into being, the kid that got up this morning, was like, bye, mom, I'm out the door. Did everything he needed to do before he left. So routine is so important.
I 100% agree. It's routine and discipline, right? So many people, when they talk about like trying to be either like successful in business as an entrepreneur, or even just like fitness, right? You talk about getting in great shape, and like you seeing these guys with like 6-pack abs and stuff like that. They talk about motivation, right? What motivates you to do this? What motivates you to become the most successful, like next Bill Gates, stuff like that. And to me, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline.
Right.
Because you can only get up motivated every day for so long. And like,
right, because there are days that suck, and it's okay to have days that suck.
Yep. But if you're disciplined, there are days like those days that suck. That's when your discipline kicks in and you do it anyways.
Right.
Because there are definitely going to be days where you lack motivation and lack the urge to want to do those things. But when you're disciplined, those are the days that you get up and you're like, well, today's going to suck, but I'm disciplined, so I do it anyways, right? Because it's just part of the grind. It's part of the routine that I've forced myself into to make the changes, whatever those changes are in your life that you want to see, as opposed to like, oh, well, I'm motivated to be super fit today, or I'm motivated to make 1,000 calls today, or I'm like, you're not going to be that every day. It's not going to happen. So
I was just looking for my one thing book because it's such a great reference tool for this. A lot of the times too, they're not motivated or disciplined because they're not clear on what they need to do in order to make those things happen, right? So a couple months ago, I had a one thing coach on our Market Center Tech Trainer call, and he helped us figure out what is our lead domino that would knock all the other dominoes down if we did it every day. And it was a hard exercise, and there was crying, and we were mad at one point, and it was really hard. And at the end of the day, I always will give myself as a tribute so that other people didn't feel uncomfortable raising their hand. But I wanted to be able to wake up to do my savers every day. And in order to do that, I had to go to bed early. Great. So I thought my 66-day challenge, building habits for 66 days was go to bed early. No, my 66th day had to be, I had to stop working by 7 p.m. every night. And I needed an accountability partner where I had to snap them a photo of wherever I was not working and say, I'm not working every day at 7 for 66 days. And it was the hardest thing I ever did. It was super difficult, but I'm able to go to bed earlier, wake up when I want to, rested, right? Just because I'm waking up at 4 doesn't mean I had a great night's rest.
Yeah.
Right. And get the things that I want done. So, accountability partners are also huge in that, right? When you got somebody who's they're going to text you and they're like, show me your food log, show me that you worked out, show me that you're done working. It makes a big difference. I had a tough accountability partner this time.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, that's the same thing with like goal setting, right? Like the second you talk about your goals that you're having, say them out loud, tell them to someone else, right? Because if you have goals internally, that's well and great, but until you to visualize them and make them real, you have to tell someone, because then whoever you tell is going to keep you accountable.
Right.
Because if you say, hey, Brooke, I set a goal to do this year. And at the end of the year, if you tell me like, hey, Matt, did you achieve that goal? Or like in 6 months, you're like, Matt, how's that goal coming? Are you halfway? Are you gaining on it? But if I'd never said anything, if I don't say anything to anyone, and I just say, I have a goal, to do this, and I keep it internalized, no one's ever going to hold you accountable for that goal. So you need to speak those.
Can't be a secret about those goals. And you got to do it not just with people in your work life. I've noticed it's really hard when your home life and your work life is not balanced around those goals, right? Yep. So, my husband and I share our goals on everything. He'll be like, well, what's your goal for the next 6 months? Or do you want to take classes? Do you want to do this, that, right? So he knows what my work goals are. I know what his work goals are. because if those are off balance, home becomes unbalanced as well. So I'm very big on, people might not understand what I do, but they understand that I have goals and that I'm doing stuff. So it's always so important to just share with the people you love around you so they can support you in those goals too.
For sure. For sure.
All right. So I have a guest next week. We
Yeah.
don't have that.
Are you gonna announce it, or is it gonna be a surprise
I'm not. It's going to be a surprise guest, and you're going to give me the question ahead of time if you want to put it in our chat for next week. I hope you have a fabulous vacation. You deserve it. You've been working so hard, and we will see you guys. Well, I'll see you next week. Matt will see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'll be back for sure, and we can talk about. I'll try and dabble on my trip.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be phenomenal. I'm super excited.
I'm excited for you, friend. All right, well, you guys are watching Modern Perfect Strangers with Brooke Silva and
Matt Howard.
All right, guys, have a great day.